Are we on? Right. Okay. Right. All right. Good evening, all of you, and I'm sure you have already prepared quite a lot for your coming examination. And, well, now you can count it by the hours. It's hardly a few hours away. And as we had said earlier, that we have to ensure that the 13th is sweet and the 14th becomes even sweeter. On that note, let's begin. And there are hundreds and hundreds of queries, and I'm trying to think which one to begin with. I got a lot of queries about phrasal verbs. All right. So basically, to put it in a very short manner, when two verbs or a verb and another word, listen to me very carefully. When a verb and another verb, or one verb and some other word come together, then they form a phrasal verb because the word becomes more than one. But the thing is that the meaning changes entirely. That is what happens with phrasal verbs. And now let me see what's happening. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening. Good evening. Transformation of sentences. And what else? Ma'am, can you tell movie review format? Okay. Okay. So probably what I will do is tonight with Yash sir's help, I will try to put up a sample of a movie review, but I will go through it here as well. Mayank Jain, ma'am, ये सब आता है. Oh, good. ये सब आता है. That's really wonderful. Transformation of sentences. Okay. Again, transformation of sentences will require a lot. Unseen passage, essays. Right. Okay. So let's go one by one and let me see what I start with. First, I'll start for the last time. I got a lot of queries about directed writing. All right. Then I'll try to go on to movie review. And then the third, I'll take up transformation of sentences. Okay, transformation of sentences. We'll take this up. Report writing. All right, Yash, they need a little more volume. Some of them are saying the volume is not enough. I'll have to be louder. Okay. Okay. Coming to directed writing. What is the purpose of directed writing? Now, students, I want you to understand one thing very categorically. We can take up everything only one by one. You have to revise everything. If you just continue to write and write and write and write without listening to how the lesson begins, then we will be able to reach nowhere. And so, let's begin again. So, to understand it better, directed writing is always with a purpose. Oh dear. Directed writing comes with a purpose. It has to be a purpose. The purpose becomes your guide. It is the subject on which you shall write. What will you write? You can write a speech. You can write a report. you can write a article. All right. So coming to speech, many of you had asked me a question stating that what kind of speech can we get? To be very specific as I can get, speeches which concern the youth, speeches which concern, I'll write it from here, speeches that concern youth, speeches that concern environment, and speeches that will concern any kind of wastage. It may be a wastage of resources, it may be a wastage of energy, wastage of money, or wastage of human life through things like addiction, things like bad company, all right? So these are the things on which you might be asked to write a speech. Even simpler speeches, if you're really very lucky, then probably you might get to write a speech on something like the Independence Day, something like the importance of Republic Day, and so these speeches will cover a lot. Okay? And then coming to reports, different kinds of reports. You can have, coming to one, magazine reports. You can have news reports. What is happening nowadays in Lucknow? The G20 summit, for example. Then you can have a report stating the influx, you know, the opportunities that might open up because of so many foreign visitors and foreign firms and foreign companies and foreign opportunities coming into Uttar Pradesh, and all of them meeting up in the capital, which is Lucknow. But then your report can also cover things like, it is a very good thing, but it is causing a lot of traffic jams. It is becoming very inconvenient. Schools have been shut down because of this. So your news reports can have this. Magazine reports can be a little more subtle. Magazine reports can again be about the environment. Magazine reports can be about the beauty of the hills. Magazine reports can be about probably cultural programs or other things that might have taken place in your school. So magazine reports can have these things. Coming down to article writing, which I really don't think will come that much, but article writing again, because it is directed writing, articles can come on the use and misuse of medicine. When you are sending a particular article into a journal, then it has to have research. All these things, whether it is a speech, listen carefully now, this is where your marks come in. Whether it's a speech, whether it's a report in the magazine or in the newspaper, or whether it is an article that you send out in the medical journal or in a certain magazine as an expert, you will have to write certain facts. Do not waste your time here and there. You will have to be a little bit factual. All right? So, facts have to be put in. Whether you create those facts in your head or whether your facts are taken from certain places. If your facts support your speech or your report or your article, then your piece of directed writing is taking shape. It is definitely taking proper shape. The best part is that I am running an English class, but you all are talking to me in Hindi. Fabulous. I can see that's a very good method of understanding English, but I take it otherwise as an English teacher. Because if you want to understand English, switch your mode. Switch your mode. I cannot teach you English in Hindi, I'm sorry, and I will not do that. You will at least have to have that much of grace. So, in case you do not know, somebody has written itni English nahi aati, in case you don't know that much English, then you're just sitting here and wasting your time. Alright? But let us try with those who are prepared to try. I would rather have a lot of respect for those children who are ready to try. Alright, on that note, if you want a shortcut for a book review, coming to book review and coming to movie review, if you want a shortcut to a book review or a movie review, the best thing I can tell you is pick up a certain book review, a sample of a book review or a sample of a movie review, and all you can do by tomorrow is cram it up. Cram it if you can, because that is the last resort you have. It is scoring, we know that. So if you cram it up, you will. But let me try and tell you how to make it. You have all read The Tempest. You can write a book review on The Tempest, if nothing else. But a book review should first of all, in the first paragraph, here I am talking of the book review. Here I am talking of book review. For the book review, in the first paragraph, write the book that you are going to take up. All right? For those who had my solutions, I had given you a solution on Tom Sawyer. Suppose you have read Harry Potter, then you can write a book review on Harry Potter. All right? You can do that also. If you have read a particular book in Hindi, then you can write a book review on that Hindi book, because you need to know the content. It does not necessarily have to be a book that was read in English. Suppose you have read a particular book in Hindi, then you can write the review of that book in English. That can also help you. In fact, those of you who have read the Ramayana in brief, probably the Ramayana in brief, then you can write on that also. But then here you will have to mention who was the author of that particular book. The author of that particular book would be either Valmiki or Tulsidas. One of the two must have written it, right? Okay, so one of the two people might have written this particular book, and then you have to mention the era. In any kind of book review, dates, years, which year. If you don't know the exact date, at least you can write the year. If you don't know the year, you can at least write the era. You can mention the era. All right. Harry Potter. Let me come again very closely to the book review. Harry Potter was written somewhere in the 1990s. Even that much will do. If you write 1990s, if you don't know the exact year. But if you write about Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer, they were written in the 1880s, somewhere during that time. And then if you talk about a book like the Ramayana, then it was written in the ancient times. What kind of books are there? Harry Potter. What genre does it belong to? Adventure. Tom Sawyer, again, adventure. Ramayana. What kind of book is Ramayana? Religious. Religious legend. Legend उसको कहते हैं जिसकी कोई उम्र नहीं होती, हमेशा हमेशा चलता रहता है. Yes, that's what I said. You can write about the tempest. You can come to the tempest. The tempest. This was also written somewhere in the 18th century, early 18th century. It was written somewhere in the early 18th century. You can go back and look at what particular date, time. You can get the proper date and time of all that. And then it is very important to write the author. Name of the author. Name of the author. The Tempest was a drama. What is the genre here? Tragic comedy. Drama. It was totally and completely for the purpose of drama. So this will come in prose. Adventures of Harry Potter, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, this will come in prose. But the Tempest is again of what genre? It is a drama, and that too a tragic comedy. You will have to mention that. See, you know these things, it's not difficult. And then Ramayana is a religious book and it is a legend. It is written as a legend. And then who was the author? The Tempest, Shakespeare. Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. Most of you know. The authoress of Harry Potter is J.K. Rowling. Author of Tom Sawyer, you also know that. Ramayana, ancient times, who wrote it? There were two people who wrote the Ramayana. एक वाल्मीकि की रामायण है और एक तुलसीदास की रामायण है. So these are the things you know. So after having mentioned these things, once this has been mentioned, this will make up for your first paragraph. This will make up for your first paragraph. Coming to the second paragraph. The second paragraph here. What should it have? It should have a brief summary of the story. A brief summary or a gist. The gist of the story has to be there. Where you will highlight the main points, the main places that take the story ahead. For example, if I take up The Tempest, a book you've all been reading at the moment, Tempest, what happens? It begins with a storm. The scene opens with a storm. Characters panic. Characters panic. Then, oh dear. Characters panic, then jump into the sea. You have to write it in very short. Then what happens? Prospero is the one making it happen. Prospero is the one making it happen. Everybody comes on board safely. All are saved. Then what happens next? Miranda meets Ferdinand. Oops. Miranda meets Ferdinand. Then what happens? Nobles wander about. I think I'll rub the top. Trinculo, I'll write it in short. Trinculo, Stefano, and Caliban meet. Become friends. All right. So, in very short, you will give the summary of it all. And then, side by side, at the end of this little gist, you will say, all this was being done by Prospero with the purpose of teaching his perpetrators a lesson. Once they had learnt their lesson, they felt regret, they felt remorse. And you can bring up the other highlights also. You can mention the mystical quality created by spirits. The mystical quality created by spirits. Major scenes, mention the major scenes. The banquet scene. The banquet scene and the mask. They add supernatural element in a greater degree. So these two add supernatural element in a very great degree. And so this is how the gist will come. And then you will conclude. What was the purpose of all that? Reconciliation. And forgiveness.
They are asking, will we write exactly like this, or these are the points?
These are only the points. You will have to convert them into sentences. I am only quickly giving you the points, just like I keep giving you the keywords. These are the points, and you will add them into paragraph, complete sentences, and there you have it. Now, coming to the theme, all this leads us to reach the theme. Through all this, William Shakespeare teaches us about reconciliation and forgiveness. So, you can write in the concluding lines of this play, the concluding paragraph of the play, what was the purpose? The purpose was to entertain. Did it get fulfilled? The purpose of the play was to entertain, and yes, William Shakespeare was able to entertain us and teach us a valuable lesson. He was not only able to entertain us, but he was also able to teach us a valuable lesson. And what was that valuable lesson? That forgiveness is greater than revenge. This is a very valuable lesson that we learn through the play. Forgiveness is greater than revenge. And with all the comedy that he included, by having the group of 3 comedians or fools pushed around the place, he was able to achieve in the end his purpose, the message that forgiveness is greater than revenge. And so, what should be your last line in case it comes and you write it on? That is why the tempest is a classic play. That is why The Tempest is a classic play. All right? So, you can easily write it like that. In case you talk about any other book that you have read, you can write it in the same manner. It is complete. But please organize the thought in your mind first. You can't write everything all together. Go bit by bit. You can write yes, you can, that's what I did. You can write your book review on The Tempest. Now, there is somebody who is using the word "Are yaar, important batao." But I would like to tell this very intelligent person that whatever is happening here, your question paper is not going to come tailor-made for you. It is not that Tanu wants something, so council will send something else. Manu wants something, council will send something else. No. Everything from comprehension, from book review, from article writing, from news writing, news report, these things have been defined in your syllabus long back and you know it. And so, we are trying to take them up bit by bit. Everything that you will practice is important and will not go unutilized. because there is something which is called transfer of training. What you might have practiced in one particular question can come very in hand in another answer. All right. Coming to movie. Can I have some water, please? Yeah, thank you. Okay. Coming to the movie review. Okay. The movie again will come first with the introductory paragraph in which you will mention the name of the movie. If you know the director, then you will mention the director of the movie. Then, if you know the story writer, for example, if you say a particular movie was made on a particular book, then the story writer. The story writer. Harry Potter was a book written by J.K. Rowling. So, it came out with the name Harry Potter. It was directed, or then you can write based on a story. Let's write it this way. First, based on a story written by J.K. Rowling and under the direction of so and so, whoever it was, okay, under the direction of so and so. Then you can also write here itself that it revolves around mysticism and magical characters. It is basically a story of a young boy, a story of a young boy played by, who played the role of Harry Potter? That name can come here. Played by so on and so forth. So, who was the movie made for? The movie was made for children. Basically, the movie was made for children. It was an adventure movie made for children. So, you can mention that also. And then in the second paragraph, again, you will write a gist of the story of the movie. You see, Harry Potter has got, it is a series. So, whichever series you want to write about, alright? Whichever series you want to write about, you can write the gist of that particular series. Then, after the gist, you can come to the conclusion where you can give the theme. What did you learn from this movie? That bravery with sensibility simplicity and dedication leads to greatness. leads to greatness. All right, this will come in your third paragraph. And that is why the movie became so extremely popular with children, because children could connect, not only children, adolescents and adults also could equally connect with the picture. You can also write who was your favorite character in the movie. You can also mention who was the favorite character in the movie. What is the word limit for both reviews? Try not to go beyond 250 words. Try not to go beyond 250 words. All right, if you stretch it too much, maybe you take it to 270, but keep it somewhere between 250 and 300. Definitely do not try not to exceed that. Compositions, listen carefully. Compositions, reviews, reports. All right, all these have to be in paragraphical form. It is only proposal, all right, or a resume for that matter, which can come in bullet points. But otherwise, the rest of your directed writings, your report writing, all these things will have to come in paragraphical form. Cultural review, I don't know why you all are so confused about the format of cultural review. What is so difficult in a cultural review? Suppose you go to a certain Diwali Mela. What happens there? It is a burst of culture. What if you go to a Dandiya night? It is again a cultural review. You are writing about a particular festivity that takes place due to a particular festival, and there is a lot of culture. Or then you have come to a fair where cultures of many countries have, or many states or many ethnic groups have come, and what are you doing there? You are only trying to write about them. You will write about the states, you will write, it is just anything and everything that you observe and see. Again, what is the purpose behind all this? What did I like in this? What did I learn from this? Do I want to see it happen again? But what should the organizers be careful about? Or then what should you be careful about? So you can write those things. Directed writing is simply everything that you all are going to do technically. Directed writing, whatever you have done till now will all come. It can come in the form of speeches, it can come in the form of reports, it can come in the form of news reports, it can come in these forms. And or then an article, suppose you wanted to write an article, it is again something not like a spoken speech but like a written speech, something where you are putting your thoughts, putting your opinion, putting your observations and mentioning facts. Facts will add value to your directed writing. Argumentative, coming to that, argumentative and reflective. If If you ask me, these two are extremely scoring. Argumentative is simply when you write for or against a particular thing. For example, I can say that the freedom of, that we should have a free use of Wi-Fi. A few years back, in Hazraganj they had made it free Wi-Fi. Everybody who could sit anywhere and could easily connect to Wi-Fi without any problem. But something happened and they took the facility back. The facility was stopped. So, what is your opinion about it? Should they have continued with free Wi-Fi? First you will write for. Well, these were the advantages that people had. Those who could not study at home, online, could sit somewhere in a quiet spot and they could study. They could download things. Then they could access information where their own personal data was being saved. They did not have to run here and there. They got it at a common spot. So, because Hazraganj is really is a center point and not very far from anywhere. Well, those are the points for. Then you come to the points against. That probably it was creating a lot of misuse. Probably it was becoming extremely expensive, or probably the systems that they had put there were not able to support so many users at the same time, and whatever else you might want to write. So, for and against, you get to write on both sides. So, argumentative definitely fetches you a lot of marks if you are able to do that. Then reflective essays also. What do you get reflective essays on? You will get reflective essays on things like lockdown, conservatism, or technical advancement, courteousness, it is open. The topic is completely open. You can write just anything that comes to your mind. You can write just anything that comes to your mind. Anything. They are not asking you to write in a specific shell. They are completely throwing open the topic to you that you can write whatever you feel like. So, this also gives you a lot of range to write in, to express your thoughts as you would. Alright. So, reflective essays are also good in case you want to score, they become scoring. You can, if you have found a particular book review or a movie review, nobody is going to cut marks for it provided you do justice to the way you write it. Very importantly, it is better to be original in your idea. The more original you are in your idea and your topic, the better it is for you. But it is for those last moment people that they really have to go and cram something. अगर आपको कोई reviews मिल जाते हैं और आप उनको पढ़ते हैं, what it does is, it is going to help you in understanding the shape you have to give your format. Alright. So, we've done that. With that, can we come to transformation of sentences? is there any chance that the comprehension be same as the guest paper? Why not? You should always hope on hope. But the thing is that comprehension are extracts taken just from anywhere. They can be taken from just any place. So it's very difficult to bank on what. You should just know how to solve it. And I'm sure you will be able to get there. All right. Now, last of all, do you want me to do a few transformation of sentences? If yes, then tell me. It is perfectly okay to contradict your own thoughts. If you are able to challenge your own thoughts, it's perfectly fine. Continuously. All right. So, in case this is done, what else? I'll do just 2 or 3 transformation of sentences with you, and then after that, I think you need to go back to your books. You hardly have got any time. So, please, one very important tip. Stick to the word limit. I'm saying this again and again. Stick to the word limit. Number 2, write so that the examiner can read. Even in your composition writing, wherever you have put a composition, mark what you think is important and add quotes. Mark, oblique, underline. If you can quote a proverb or a saying, use that. Use that to your advantage. Quote. These things will always give a lot of strength to your long answers in grammar. What are they saying? Okay, well, they have so many more important things to do. So, I think from your messages I can understand that most of you are really on your way to something else. But with this, I would like to wish you all the best. Right? Can you pause it for a moment? It can't be paused. Okay. So, should I do transformation sentences or should I just let it be? Okay. Somebody is completely asking me for format of personal profile and statement of marks. Well, format of personal profile, I would tell you that this is the last moment. If I tried teaching it to you here, it will not happen. Here I have basically taken a revision of sorts. You please go to a certain sample either on the net or any of the books or workbooks that you've done. Look it up there, because that will help you more. Reading it again and again and again. If I tell you here at the moment, it will not stay. Okay, I'll take just about 10 words. I'll take 10 words and then there I'll
which section do we start first?
All right. I had dealt with this question before. The question asked is which section should I start with first? So, whatever section you are comfortable with, the first and foremost thing that you go and do is read your paper. Once you have read your paper, you get enough reading time. In that particular reading time, you have to take a decision what do you want to attempt first. In case you try to attempt comprehension before your composition, all right, then in that case, you can do it provided you write the question and do not forget to give it the proper address that okay, comprehension, this is the comprehension, question number so and so A, question number so and so B, question number so and so C, part 1, part 2, part 3, properly. Any kind of changes that you will make in the structure of the examination of the question paper will have to be marked properly. And there is no compulsion that you have to do this first and this first and this first. Some people think that it is better to get over with functional grammar. Some children feel that functional grammar gives them breathing time. So, they do the composition first, they do the directed writing, and after that they take up functional grammar because it sort of helps them to calm down. They find it a bit easy and it helps them to calm down. So, that is what you can do. Take whatever you choose you want to do first. All right. The first coming up, he took his bag and threw it away. You simply have to change the way of writing it. Start with the bag. Or his bag. His bag was taken away by him and thrown. Very simple. His bag was taken by him and thrown. This has been now done in the passive. This was the active voice and this is the passive voice. He took his bag and threw it away. His bag was taken by him and thrown away. All right? So, this can be any one sentence. The army was defeated in a short battle. The army was defeated in a short battle. So, if I want to write it in another way, a. The same can start here. Okay? In a short battle, the army was defeated. Or after. Even if I put the word after, you can easily transform this sentence. After a short battle, the army was defeated. Okay? Let's take up another sentence. I like apples and oranges too. I like apples and oranges too. Start with not only. Not only is a pair of conjunctions. Not only do I like apples, but also oranges. Not only do I like apples, but also oranges. That's how you can do that. Tara climbed the tree and it broke. Tara climbed the tree branch and it broke. Start with as soon as. If I want to transform it like that. As soon as Tara climbed the tree branch, it broke. But suppose I say no sooner. Suppose I want to begin it with this. एक तो ये हो गया. And then one is this. No sooner did Tara climb the tree's branch, it broke. Right? So it can come up like this also. Are they saying anything else? besides a Harley Davidson Sam has a mountain bike. So, suppose I want to write this in another manner and I want to give it another beginning. Besides a Harley Davidson, Sam has a mountain bike. Sam has a Harley Davidson along with a mountain bike. All right. So, you are writing the same thing but in a different manner. So, this is how you will transform the sentences. You have to take two things very importantly in mind when you transform the sentence. First, the meaning should not change. Meaning of the sentence should remain the same. Okay? The meaning of the sentence should remain the same. And number two, object and subject. Oh dear. Should remain. When we were talking of Sam, who was the subject? Sam was the subject. And what were the objects? Objects were a Harley Davidson and a mountain bike. So, these things should not vanish from the sentence, they should remain the same. And this is the only important thing you have to keep in mind when you transform sentences. On that note, I will not keep you much. Check your spellings. Very important for tomorrow's exam. Check your spellings. Check your punctuations. This is grammar. You can lose marks for spellings, maybe not that much, but for punctuations, definitely. Articles, definitely. आप articles नहीं लगाएंगे तो आपके marks कम हो सकते हैं. Articles, जिनको मैं याद दिला दूं, are things like a and the. A and the. These are your articles. Alright. So, if you add articles to whatever you write, and these are generally used for common common nouns, and the is used for generally that which is only one thing in the world, or then it is plural. For example, you say the sun. Okay? All right. So, on that note, I wish you all the very best for tomorrow's exam. I know you're going to do really very well. If you have practiced even a little bit, tomorrow that practice will fetch you marks. And you still have time. Instead of texting one another, sit down and practice. Because there is one thing that I have realized, you spend a lot of time trying to argue out each other. You are messing up with each other, but more messing up with yourself. So please, this is not the time to be on chats. Focus on your work, and I'm sure you will do tremendously well. I wish you all the very best. Do well. Am I off?